Hello everyone, for today's maths lesson we are going to be adding and subtracting using the column method. I'm going to show you a few different questions and we're going to practice working our way through them. Some of these questions are example questions from test papers, so they can be quite tricky when you first look at them. So I'm going to show you how to approach them so that you don't get too nervous in the middle of a test when you're faced with a question that you know you can answer. So to start off with, I have this question here. Now it looks a little bit different to the questions that we normally do, so I thought it'd be a nice challenge for us. So we have the question 45 plus 18, and underneath we can see that we've got the numbers partitioned into their deans as well, which is quite helpful. What you need to do if you're starting, you need to work out what the answer is and see out of the options that we have here, A, B, C or D, which of these answers is correct. You can use the column method to work this out. You can count up the deans, it's up to you. See which answer is correct. So pause the video here to work that out. Okay, well done for working that out. I would really love to hear which answer you got, so please upload your answer onto Padlet if you can. Here are some practice questions for you, just to remind you and do a quick recap of the column method. So we've done addition and subtraction questions here. So we can see that at the top, A, B and C are addition questions because we've got our addition symbol next to the column. And the A, B, C questions at the bottom of the screen are subtraction questions because we have the subtraction symbol there. So I'm going to give you however long you need. You can pause the video to work through the questions. And once you've done that, then I will go through the answers with you. So pause the video here to answer the questions. Okay, let's go through these answers together. So I'm going to draw on the screen and you can follow along. So A, on the addition questions, let's start here. Remember, we always start with the ones. So here we are adding 9 plus 6. Now we already know that this is going to be more than 10, don't we? So 9 plus 6 we know is 15. So we put the ones from that number in here and we regroup the tens over into the tens column. Now I'm doing 1 plus 5 plus 2. Now I know 1 plus 5, 1 plus 4 plus 2. We know that 1 plus 4 is 5, and then 5 plus 2 is 7. So your answer for this first one should be 75. For the next question, we're doing 33 plus 48. I'm going to start in the ones column. 3 plus 8 we know equals 11. Obviously 11 can't go into our ones column here. It's a 2-digit number. We're only allowed to put 1 digit here. So I'm going to put the ones from that number here and the tens from the number 11 into the tens column. Okay, now I'm going to be doing 1 plus 3 plus 4 tens. So 1 10 plus 3 tens I know equals 4 tens, and then 4 tens plus 4 tens I know equals 8 tens. So that is our answer here. Well done if you got that right. The next question, we are doing 75 plus 19. I know that 5 plus 9 is going to be more than 10. So I'm going to need to regroup again. So what we're going to do, oops, if I can get my pen to work, which would be really helpful. There we go. 5 plus 9 we know equals 14, so I'm going to put the ones from that number, the 4, into the ones column, and then I'm going to regroup and put the tens from that number into that column. So now I'm doing 1 10 plus 7 tens plus another 1 10. So 1 10 plus 7 tens is 8 tens, plus another one is 9 tens. So my answer is 94. Well done if you managed to get those correct. Now we're moving on to do some subtraction. So here we are doing 69 take away 25. I'm going to start in the ones column. 9 take away 5 I know equals 4. And 6 tens take away 2 tens I know equals 4. So my answer for that question is 44. Moving on, I'm going to start in the ones column for this calculation as well. 53 take away 48. 3 take away 8. If I have 3 fingers and I try to take away 8 of them, can I do that? Do I have 8 of these fingers to give away? I can't do it. I've only got 3. So I'm going to have to regroup from the tens column. Okay, so what I'm going to do, once I can get my pen to work again, there we go. What I'm going to do, I'm going to borrow one of these 10s. Okay, so I'm going to cross this 10 out because I'm not going to have 5 there anymore because I'm having to regroup. I'm going to be left with 4 10s over here, and I'm going to move my 10 over into this column. So now I'm not doing 3 take away 8 anymore. I'm actually doing 13 take away 8. And I know 13 take away 8 equals 5. So I'm going to draw my 5 into the ones column because that's what I've been left with. And now I can do my 4 10s that I've been left with. Take away 4 10s, I know equals 0. I could just leave that blank, but I know that this answer is 5. Well done if you worked that out. That was a really tricky one, so don't worry too much if you didn't get that one quite right yet. Our last question is 75 take away 35. Now again, starting in the ones column, I'm going to do 5, take away 5, and that leaves me with no ones. And then I'm going to move on to the 10s and do 7 10s, take away 3 10s, which leaves me with 4. So my answer is 40. Well done if you managed to get those answers correct. Now, I've put on the screen an example of a word problem that you might come across in a test. It says, I bake some buns for school. If we sell 35 and I have 28 left, how many buns did I bake? Now, when we read this, it's really important that the first thing we do is we underline the really important parts of this question, okay? Because it can be quite distracting trying to think about lots of different buns and the fact that people are at school and that they're baking, okay? So let's underline the really important parts of this question, which we know are obviously the numbers that we're working with. And it's normally the question at the end because it kind of tells us what they want to know. How many buns did I bake? Let's underline that as well because that's really important. How many buns did I bake? Now, when we first read this, it might sound like it's a subtraction question. I bake some buns for school. If we sell 35, if we think about selling something, it normally means that we're taking away, doesn't it? If we're taking something away or selling it, we're giving part of our total away. But actually, the question at the end says, how many buns did I bake? Now, it doesn't matter that we've sold 35 and that we've only got 28 left. They're asking, how many buns did I bake altogether? Which means we're actually doing addition. We need to add these two numbers together, the buns that we sold and the buns that we've got left. I want to know how many buns altogether did we make? So we need to do some addition. What you're going to do, you're going to have a go at solving this problem using the column method. So you're going to do the column method for addition, and you're going to add 35 and 28 together. Pause the video here so that you can have a go, and we will go through the answer together once you're done. Okay, well done for having a go at that. I'm going to go through what you should have done. So hopefully you will have drawn your grid really neatly on your piece of paper. I'm going to try and do it as neatly as I can on my screen and go through the answer with you. So I'm sure you will have managed to partition the numbers into 10s and 1s as well. So to start off with, we've got 35. Okay, I'm just going to make it really nice and clear as I can on my screen. 35, and we're adding 28 to see how many buns I baked in total. And to remind myself that I'm doing addition, I'm going to do this plus sign here. And I'm going to draw a neat line-ish underneath so that I can write my answer at the bottom. So I always start with my ones, as we know. I'm going to be doing 5 plus 8. Now I know that 5 plus 8 equals 13, and I know that 13 doesn't fit into my ones column, so I'm going to need to regroup the 10s into my 10s column. So I'm going to have 3 1s, and in 13 I've got 1 10, so that 1 10 now belongs in the 10s column. So now I'm going to be adding my 10s together. I've got 1 10 plus 3 10 plus 2 10s. So I know that 1 10 plus 3 10s is 4 10s. And 4 10s plus 2 10s is 6 10s. So your answer should have been 63. We will have baked 63 buns. It doesn't matter that we sold 35 of them and I've only got 28 left. I know that altogether I baked 63 buns. Let's clear my drawings and we can move on to the next problem. Here is another problem. So it says, I have just spent 34p at the shop and I have 36p left. How much money did I have to begin with? Now again, just like the last question, what we're going to do, we are going to underline the important parts of this question, which are obviously the numbers, 34p, 36p, and again, the question at the end, because that tells us what we need to do. How much money did I have to begin with? Now, just like the last problem, the word spent makes us think that we might be doing subtraction, because if we think we're spending something, we're taking away part of our money that we have at the start. But if we look at the question at the end, how much money did I have to begin with? Actually, we need to think about the total that we started off with. Now I know I spent 34, and I know that I've now got 36p left. But what they're asking me is, how much did I have to start with? How much did I have at the beginning before I spent anything? Which means that we actually need to do addition again. So I'm going to let you pause the video and have a go at using the column method to solve this problem. Okay, hopefully you will have had a go at this. I'm going to go through it with you now and you can mark your work. So, as we always do, we partition our numbers, 34 and 36. I'm trying to do it as neatly as I can on my screen. I'm sure your work is much neater. And I'm going to do the plus sign as well to remind myself that I'm doing addition this time when I'm using the column method. Like always, we start with our ones. So I'm going to be doing 4 plus 6. Now that's really special because I know that that's a number bond, which means I know it adds up to 10. And I can't just put 10 down here because 10 doesn't belong in my ones column. So in the number 10, I have 0 ones. And in the number, oops, that doesn't look like a 0. I'm going to try and make it look a little bit more like a 0. And in the number 10, I have 1 10. Okay, so I'm going to regroup my 110 into the tens column because that's where it belongs. Now I'm going to start adding my tens together. I've got 110 plus 3 10s, which I know equals 4 10s, and I've got another 3 10s. So 4 10s plus 3 10s equals 7 10s. Now my answer should look like this. It's asking me how much money did I have to begin with. So that means I need to put down 70. It's not 70 sausages or 70 bananas, is it? It's going to be 70p. It's really important that we include that to show them that we know that we're still talking about money. Well done if you managed to do that. Let's move on to the next one. Here we go. Now, I've put at the top here, what operation are we using? Because it can be a little bit confusing. The question is, I have a secret number. If I add 7 to my number, it is 16. What is my secret number? So when we add 7 to this number, it equals 16. If we wrote this out as a calculation, it would look like a missing number problem. If I add 7 to my secret number, I'm going to draw a question mark because we don't know what it is yet. 7 to my secret number, I get 16. What is my secret number? 7 plus something equals 16. Now what we can do to work this out, and I'm sure some of you will have realised this already, we can just do the inverse. So I'm going to swap this calculation around and I'm going to change the operation that we're using. The operation in this calculation here on the screen is addition. I don't want to use addition to solve this. That's going to be really tricky. I'm going to use the inverse, which means I need to do the opposite, which means we're going to be doing subtraction. So I'm going to change this calculation around. 16, I'm going to start with the number that I ended on. 16 take away 7 must mean it equals my secret number. Now you can do this in the column method if you want to. So I'm going to let you have a go at that now. Pause the video, have a go at using the column method for subtraction for this question, and we will mark it together in a moment. Well done for having a go at that. I'm going to go through what you should have done. If I can find my pen because it's disappeared again. There it is, right. Let's do the column method for subtraction. So We start with the big number, the number that we're starting with, 16. And I'm going to put my 7 into my column. I shouldn't be putting it into the tens because 7 by itself belongs in the ones column. There aren't any tens in the number 7. Here we go, and I'm going to draw my subtraction sign to remind me I'm doing subtraction. 6 take away 7. Can we do 6 take away 7? If I've got 6 fingers here, can I try and take away 7 of them if I've only got 6? It's not going to work, which means I need to regroup from the tens column. So what I'm going to do, oops, if I can get my pen, there we go. I'm going to cross this 10 out, and I'm not going to have any more 10s. I only had 1 and I've crossed that out. And I've got 0 now. I'm going to move that 10 over here. So now actually I'm doing 16 take away 7, not 6 take away 7. And I know that 16 take away 7 equals 9. That means that my secret number must be 9. Well done if you managed to get that answer. Let's move on. Now, when we see a page like this in a test, it can be a little bit scary because it seems like they're quite big questions and they all link together. How much money does Alex have? That is the first question. How much money does Abigail have? That is the second question. And at the bottom, it's asking us, how much money do they have all together? Now, something Mrs. Buttress and I do all the time when you're taking a test is we point to your test where that big box is and we say, show you're working out. And sometimes, quite a few of you will draw your deans, but sometimes, quite a lot of the time actually, a lot of you will just do it in your head or try your best to do it in your head and then write down the answer without showing you're working out. Now you know how to use the column method. It is the perfect time to show you're working out. So whenever you see a box like that, make sure you're showing you're working out, because even if you get the answer wrong, just by showing your work out, you can still get a mark. What you're going to do, you are going to have a go at this 3-step question for me and upload it to Padlet. But I'm going to talk you through exactly what you need to do for each of these questions. The first question is just about counting up how much money Alex has. And luckily for us, on the coins, it tells us exactly how much they are. So all you need to do is add them together. You could even count up in your 10s and your 1s, and you can write that answer down. Then you're going to move on and add up how much money Abigail has. And just from looking at it, it looks like she has a little bit more than Alex. So you're going to, again, count up in your 10s, count up in your 1s to work out how much she has. Once you've figured out how much they both have, you can then work out the final section of this question, the letter C. How much money do they have together? You can use the column method to do this. You're going to be using addition and the column method to work out that final question. Okay, I'd really love to see you have a go at this and upload it to Padlet or email it to me via the office or Mrs. Buttress. We'd love to see how you managed to get on. Well done for working so hard again today. We're so impressed with everything that you're doing, and hopefully I will see you very soon.